how I would guess. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the hybrid gathering of Summit Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Amy Karstensen, a service associate for the morning service and also a member of the Ministerial Search Committee. We welcome all of you in the sanctuary as well as all of those of you on Zoom. We are recording today's service and we'll turn it off for our community and gathering after the service. And so oftentimes when I get to Summit, my body arrives, but it takes another 5 minutes for the rest of me to arrive. And for that, I'm thankful for music. So now help us enter the spirit of worship. Let us turn our minds and hearts to listen to our prelude.
Good morning. This morning, I'm going to play two melodies of China that are arranged by Zhang Zhao from minorities in China. One is called Forest Meditation, folk music from the Dai minority, and Pastoral, which is folk music from the Mongolian minority.
Thank you, Karen. That was lovely. And now I'm fully present here to keep going. Welcome again to the Sunday morning virtual worship service of Summit UU and in person. We are a liberal religious community bound together by shared principles drawn from world religions, humanistic teachings, nature, science, philosophy, and personal practices. We are a religion of love and inclusion. The mission of Summit is to commit ourselves to building a more compassionate, just, and sustainable world. If you're new to UU or to Summit and would like to know more about us, we invite you to go to our website and click on the visitors button and fill out our online connection card. Someone will follow up with you. We also want to acknowledge that our fellowship resides on unceded Kumeyaay land and that for more than 10,000 years, this land has been and continues to be home to the Kumeyaay people. We recognize the violent history of the colonization in California and honor the legacy of the continuing presence of the Kumeyaay Nation. All right, as announcements, Mary, you have an announcement?
Good morning. Hi, my name is Mary Carter-Vale. I'm your Director of Religious Exploration. And as such, next Sunday after the service, I'm inviting anybody who would like to join me to go over to the Old Town area where I'm going there today, check it out. But there's this new exhibit. It's actually been there for a little over a year, but I'm going to try to say what it is. And please pardon my pronunciation. It's the Lilpay Tai Pai Kumeyaay Mut Ni He Puk, which translates to Land of the First People. So the Old Town Museum the Old Town State Park has worked with local tribes, local indigenous people to set aside an area of this land to teach about the 10,000 years that the indigenous people have been here. And what a great opportunity to get them to go there and visit and see firsthand the stories that they've shared. So I'm going to be doing that next Sunday after the service, leaving here at 12:30-ish, depending on if folks want to carpool or a meeting over there. So watch the newsletter and let me know if you'd like to join us. So thank you.
So I get to do a few announcements because I'm the service associate. So I'm going to do just a little quick list of gratitudes and some appreciation. So I wanted to thank Rin and the board yesterday for the goodbye ceremony to Everett. It was really lovely and I think well received. And it was just a really wonderful event. And I wanted to thank Suzanne McQuaid and her band for the beautiful music that they played. I also just want to thank Eleanor for being our board chair and all the work you're doing this year for us. It is a big task, and I really appreciate your your efforts. I'm very grateful. I wanted to thank Debbie Wingard. She is amazing and wonderful to work on the committee with, and she's kept our finances in line, and Eleanor and Debbie helping. And I know there's other people I'm missing, but helped to find Lonnie, our new admin assistant. So just very grateful how much behind the scenes types of things that are happening here at Summit. I wanted to thank Joanne and Jamie they're going to be hosting the Thanksgiving event here and making that happen and making more community. I'm very grateful for you too. And I wanted to thank Greg and Hal for all the photography that they've done over the years, and you're going to get to see some of that today. And it's a big undertaking as well. And it's nice to be able to look back on pictures of people that we've known or haven't known that have made Summit what it is. I wanted to thank Trish Ladman for doing the work that she does on the websites, very, very behind the scenes, and Pam Kerr, who helps us get the newsletter out on the weekly e-news. So there's just a lot of people doing a lot of things here at Summit. So we are strong and lots of great things are happening, and it wouldn't if we weren't all here. So that's my announcement for today. And so now we're going to do the chalice sliding. And so I've asked Eric to do the lighting. When we are grieving or sad, when we are challenged, when we need help, this flame guides us out of the darkness. When we are cheerful, when we celebrate, when we accomplish a great task, when we return to a place that makes us happy, the chalice reminds us to share our happiness with others. Stay here. All right, if you're willing and able, please stand for our You hymn. Okay, join me in reciting our UU aspiration. You can stand or sit. May love be the spirit of this fellowship. May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. All right, now it is time for all ages, and it's going to be read by members of the Barrett family.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lara.
And my name is Jack. And my name is Henry.
And we're going to read a book called It Takes a Village by Hillary Rodham Clinton, illustrated by Marla Frazee.
Sometimes it takes a child to make a village. We all have a place in the village, a job to do, and a lot to learn. Kids don't come with instructions, but neither do grown-ups. Every child needs a champion, or two, or three, or more. and the right tool to get the job done. Every family needs help sometimes. Kindness and caring and sharing matter. Playing matters too. And resting, because the world is in a hurry, but children are not. The village needs every one of us to help, and every one of us to believe in each other. Children are born believers and citizens too. Let us build a village. Worthy of all children. The end.
That was beautiful, Barrett family. Thank you so much. Loved it. Yeah, it takes a village, right? And do you notice that how patient children are? They're like in the moment. And they understand that sometimes these things take time. So thank you for that lovely story. I'd like to do something we haven't done in a while, our UU affirmation. And then the kids that are here will head off to RE, but you may not even remember this, but this is a little like a body prayer that we used to do before the kids went off to class. So if you remember, join along. If you don't, it's easy to catch on. So we are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. Guys all remember. So families who are heading for RE, come on out with me.
All right, for our first reading today, it's our covenant of right relations. And one of the great things about being the service associate is co-opting my family to help out. So my son Lucas is going to read it for us.
Hello, this is our covenant of right relations. Welcome the newcomer. Encourage and support one another. Honor our diversity. Ask questions with an open mind and heart. Listen deeply and seek understanding. Speak and act compassionately. Trust one another to remain in community while differences are resolved.
All right, please stand if you're willing and able, and we're going to sing Where Do We Come From? Hymnal 1003. It's in the green book and should be on the screen as well. And Pierre and Lisa are going to lead us.
Oh, they have it up here. Where do we come from? Are we, where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Thank you, Lisa and Pierre. Now is the offertory. We greatly appreciate our faithful pledgers who continue to keep up their monthly contributions. If Summit is a valued community in your life, please support us by making an offering today. People on Zoom are invited to contribute to our virtual plate. The link can be found in the chat box, and it will take you directly to the donation location. And now we will greatly accept your generous donations during the musical interlude, as well as enjoying a slideshow of our Summit Village. photos and memories. So, yeah, thanks. So today, Lara Barrett, who's been a member of Summit since 2017, will share the results of the cottage meetings, and Pam Williams, member since 2006, will share her musings on it taking a village and a minister and for us to grow into our next phase. And while, of course, we can make our wishes known for what we'd like to see in our next minister, we too must recognize that our village must come together, believe in each other, and do our part, whether that's volunteering your time, your talent, or your treasure for Summit to continue to thrive. Many years ago, I was at the United Nations and got to meet like the head of communications, and he talked about on projects, you get three things. There's three things. You can have it good, cheap, and fast, but you only get two. So if it's going to be good and cheap, it's not going to be fast. And if it's going to be good and fast, it's not going to be cheap. And if it's going to be fast and cheap, it's not going to be good. And so when I think about our ministerial process, I think we're hoping for good and inexpensive. And so as a result, it might not be as fast as we want. But here to share is Laura.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning, everybody. Okay. So my name is Lara Barrett, and I'm here to provide you with a summary of the results from our recently held cottage meetings. The purpose of these meetings was to collect additional feedback from the congregation on where we are as a fellowship, what we hope to find in our new minister, and what success will look like as we continue to grow in community. We held 4 in-person cottage meetings and 2 over Zoom. We also tapped into 6 existing covenant groups and other group meetings, both in person and on Zoom. A total of approximately 75 people participated in 12 separate meetings. And once again, we thank you all for your valuable feedback. Next slide, please. Thanks. Before we get into the cottage meeting results, we wanted to show you the UUA Ministerial Search Portal. This is where we'll be entering our congregational record, which provides information to prospective ministers about who we are and what we're looking for. You can see the different sections listed on the sidebar to the left, and this view is the position basics section. And so this section says we're looking for a full-time minister with a 1-year contract and the option to renew for subsequent years. It's our intention to find an excellent fit for our fellowship, and our hope is that the person we select will be able to grow our pledging membership to a level that can sustain a full-time settled minister. While we really wanted a settled minister now, we don't currently have the pledges to support a 5-year contract, which is what the UUA requires for settled ministers. So it would be wonderful if we could transition the contracted minister into a full-fledged settled minister for Summit, like what we were able to do with Reverend Frank. We really want to find someone who will stay with us long-term. Okay, so let's go through the cottage meeting results. The first discussion question was, how would you describe this congregation to prospective ministers, to prospective members, or to a close non-member friend? Many of your answers pointed to the fact that we are a small, religiously liberal congregation within the largely conservative East County area. You also highlighted that we are a non-dogmatic spiritual fellowship. We are a strong community that is inclusive, compassionate, and kind. And many mentioned that we have strong leadership and many active volunteers that make our community resilient, especially when the pandemic brought new challenges our way. Next slide, please. We also asked, what aspect of our culture would you most like the new minister to consider? And there was a related question about what were the rules and customs you had to learn, both spoken and unspoken, as you joined the congregation. Many pointed out that we come from diverse backgrounds and different spiritual philosophies, and we don't all think the same. This is why we consider ourselves a fellowship and not a church, for example, because the word church excludes those with Jewish or Islamic heritage that might otherwise be attending a synagogue or a mosque. Several folks also highlighted the components of our Sunday services that are important to us, such as welcoming the newcomer, joys and concerns, the closing circle song, and the circle discussions after the sermon. And it was also mentioned that we have a tradition of lay-led members being able to enter the pulpit and be free in their reflections. And there were many discussions that included how important it is for us to fight for social justice and how much we love and value our staff. This is another screenshot from the UUA's Ministerial Search Portal. After position basics, there are sections to enter benefits and compensation, and then a questionnaire that I'll speak to later. Then there's a series of sections under congregational information. This is a screenshot from the congregational life section. Your feedback from the survey and the cottage meetings will be used to draft the narrative that will be going into the section to describe our congregation and its culture. For qualities that are most important to us, the top responses were related to the minister being warm, accessible, and welcoming. It's very important to us that our new minister wants to be among us and enjoys building relationships with all the members of our community. Several folks also discussed the importance of providing inspiring sermons that challenge us both spiritually and philosophically. Some mentioned it would be good to have someone who is able to confront uncomfortable situations and navigate difficult people, even though we know we don't have any difficult people in our congregation. Many talked about how we need someone who can balance the benefits between being a small community and then the growth that we need to sustain us. There was also a recurring theme of going beyond providing leadership just for Summit and being a leader within the larger community. We want someone who will march when we march, and several folks have discussed the need to increase our outreach in East County. A new minister could empower the congregation to be more active in the surrounding community and help us reach marginalized groups. Next slide, please. Going back to our congregational survey results, we largely agree that the top 3 functions of our minister is to provide community and spiritual leadership, pastoral care, and Sunday services. These are pretty consistent with the cottage meeting conversations, and we're getting a clear picture of what our congregation's priorities and goals are for our new minister. This is a screenshot from the application section of the UUA's Ministerial Search Portal. The questionnaire asks us to describe the minister's role in relation to other paid staff and the primary focus for our minister. So your feedback from the survey and the cottage meetings will be used to draft those answers in the portal. Another discussion question from the cottage meetings asked participants to reflect on, looking back after our minister has been with us a year, what will be your measures of success? What achievements will make you say you're glad the minister is among you? And what qualities of the minister are most important to you? The 2 most common answers centered on bringing us together, both socially and spiritually, and growing our congregation. These can be measured on how many attendees we have on Sundays, both in person and on Zoom, and how many new pledging members we get. People also discussed how a successful minister will build their awareness of congregants' specific needs so that people feel comfortable reaching out for pastoral care. And then finally, many mentioned the importance of the new minister being able to help the board to meet its goals. The discussions ended with the question of what our vision for Summit is and how will we get there. We have lots of aspirational ideas about what we want our future to look like, but it's important to remember that one person can't do it all. We all play a part in realizing our vision for Summit and building our community into what we want it to be. And really, we're already doing very well. We held our community together during a challenging and long pandemic. We pivoted to Zoom and then hybrid services. We kept our staff employed. Mary maintained a vibrant RE program throughout the pandemic. We found the funding to purchase air filters, cameras, and TVs to continue our hybrid services. We installed a system in the sanctuary for the hearing impaired, and we even paid off our mortgage during the pandemic. Our congregational record will also reflect our successes, and we have a powerful record of leadership, participation, and love. We believe that anyone who's looking for a special opportunity would be thrilled to come be our minister. So just know that your vision is already being demonstrated by who we are and what we can offer each other and our larger community and the world. Thank you.
Good morning. As I was looking at those slides, I was thinking, we have a wonderful village, a wonderful village. I'm afraid that I begin my talk on a negative note. We are coming out of the grips of COVID with some trepidation. Our membership is down. Though we have returned to in-person services, our attendance is about half of what it once was. We have lost funding, and we weren't sure that we could afford a full-time minister. But the more I become involved in bringing Summit back to where we were before COVID, the more confident I am that we will not only get back, but we will get back stronger. Look at, and I'm going to repeat what Laura said, because we have a lot to be proud of what we've done during COVID. We have developed a smooth running Zoom hybrid service. We have continued to pay our staff with no decrease in pay or benefits. Because of this, we were able to obtain some government funding, $40,000, which allows us to offer a new minister a full-time salary for the first 2 years. Also, we obtained a grant to help us with media and outreach. We equipped the sanctuary for safe in-person reopening, and now we have a new audio system for the hearing impaired. And last but not least, we paid off our mortgage. One of my tasks for the Ministerial Search Committee has been to describe our history in the Summit packet that you saw parts of it on the screen, that will be available to prospective ministerial candidates. I have read Bob Moore's book, The View from the Summit, and heard Connie Henry describe the years spent renting space at the Masonic Temple in San Carlos. By the way, you can find Bob Moore's book in our library, and they're there for you. You can borrow them at any time. I'll tell you, one of the things that impressed me with their accounts was the space that was rented from the Masonic Temple needed to be transformed every Sunday into Summit Sanctuary and RE space. They kept many large bins and closets, and every Sunday, all those bins had to be pulled out and all Summit's materials had to be put out. And every Sunday, they needed to be taken up and packed away in the bins and put away till the next Sunday, when they would do it all again. This, as well as many other tasks, was done with many fewer members than we have now. And for the first 4 years, they didn't have a minister. Chances were slim that Summit would survive. But as we are proof, the congregation not only survived, but grew. I believe that through their struggle, they united. By working together, these Summit founders developed strong bonds, and we are still benefiting from their legacy. Yes, we have our struggles too, and we will survive. But I believe and wish for more. And the results of our survey and cottage meetings, they show that you want more too. Lara shared some of the words that folks use to describe their vision for Summit. What is your vision? Now I ask you to call out words that describe your vision for Summit. And for those of you on Zoom, you can share your words in the chat. So now just call out some words that come to mind. Okay, you're wonderful. I was kind of nervous. Thought there might be a pause there and a lot of quiet, but we have a lot of ideas of what we want to be. You have told us that what you want in a minister, a warm, welcoming person, providing community and spiritual leadership, someone who will help us back on our feet when we are down, someone who will help Summit get back to where it was before COVID, someone who will lead us out into the community to have our presence known. You also commented on our strong leadership. Yes, we do have a core of strong leaders who have and will continue to lead us as we emerge from this very difficult time. But listen closely. This is the heart of my message. Yes, our minister and strong leaders can help us toward our vision, but they can't do it alone. We have a strong group of core leaders who are very talented, hardworking, and dedicated to Summit. You might think they are doing such a great job, and they are. You might think that, and you then might think that you should let them do it. But I must tell you that without you and me, and all of us pulling together, Summit won't become what we have envisioned. We have many jobs, opportunities to share our love and skills going unfilled. You have said that you want more fun here. I do too. Did you know that the hospitality committee disbanded during COVID? We need you. We need your help to reform this important committee. We have an active social justice and action committee, but it's mainly made up of members that have carried the torch for years. If you have an interest here, join in. We would like some adult education programs. Can you help with them? These are just a few of the areas where we need you. There is definitely a place here for all of us. When I shared my draft for this talk with my committee members, they thought I needed to say more about our future minister. And I agree. After all, I'm representing the Ministerial Search Committee. And let me say, we are the hardest working, most dedicated team that I have ever been a part of. I believe that we will represent you well and succeed in finding a minister, one who will match up with who we are and who we want to be. But remember, we won't be bringing you Jesus Christ, Whoever they might be, they won't be a god. I have used the pronoun they to describe our new minister, because as of yet, I don't know their gender or sexual orientation, but I guarantee that they too, like us, won't be perfect. Hopefully, most of the time, they will be guiding us well, but they will also make mistakes, which we will need to forgive. When I have thought about how to describe what we are looking for, I think of us as a team without a coach. Then I thought of a TV show that I was able to watch while I was visiting in New York. The show is called Ted Lasso. Ted is an unlikely, successful professional soccer coach in England. It is presently on the Apple TV network and has won many awards. I give it 2 thumbs up. I don't have the Apple network on my TV at home, so I haven't been able to watch the whole series, but I watched enough to understand Ted's coaching abilities. Ted coaches from the heart and with love. He cares deeply about all the players on his team, not just the stars. He cares more about their lives and the persons that they can become more than what they can do for him. The success comes because he brings out the best persons in each player so that they all become team players. If we can find a minister that will guide us like Ted Lasso guides his team, Summit will be known in Santee as a place of love, giving and sharing to the community as well as to one another. Let me tell you a little about myself. I'm basically an introverted person. I get very frightened about talking in front of a group. But Pam, you say you've been doing a lot of talking lately. Yes, I have, because I have some things that I want to say. Is it hard for me to get up here? Yes, it is. John can vouch to that. But because I have dared to do it, I have grown. Each time it becomes a little easier. Also, I want to confess that I am not well read. By some, that might be the cardinal sin for yours. I'm dyslexic and a very slow reader, often stumbling over what I have read. I practiced this dozens of times, but I still will stumble. I'm afraid that you already can tell that. Because reading isn't my thing, I have always watched a lot of TV, another sin. But I'm a youer too. Why am I telling you about my sins and flaws? I want you to realize that you are on the Summit team along with me. Even though we're flawed and a little different, we can all play a part. We bring different ways of sharing and giving. But what's important is that we give of ourselves. There will always be something we can do. Our differences, when shown, will make Summit whole. Finally, my memory goes back to when I first came to Summit. we were still meeting in the Masonic temple. I remember seeing a very frail elderly lady named Belle, all bundled up in multiple garments. Many a Sunday, she would get up very slowly, holding her walker, and say in a loud voice, "You are wonderful. I love you." As I become older and more frail, I hope that I too can become a Summit cheerleader like Belle and come on Sunday and say, "You are awesome, and I love you all."
Wow, that was great. So we just need to find Ted Lasso. Let's got it figured out. All right, we're going to sing a song, "When Our Hearts Are in a Holy Place." Lisa and Pierre, if you'll come join us, please stand if you're willing, able, want to, and you can find the words up on the screen or 1008 in the green book.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. Blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place.
Thank you. As we close our service by extinguishing our chalice, I invite you to stay afterwards for a time of community gathering. Just to remind you of our mission statement, in spiritual community, we commit ourselves to building a compassionate, just, and sustainable world. And so now is my favorite part of Summit is our closing circle song. But when I think Ed Henry and Bob Moore started this, we were a much smaller group and we really were able to create a circle. And I really would love for us to try to create a circle that represents unity and togetherness. So if we can all be around the perimeter, I would appreciate that.